After dealing with some Team Galactic goons, it is time to get a new encounter. And the Pokemon gods have blessed me with a potential Dragonite in the wings. Now we just have to make sure we catch it. So I whittle its health down a little bit, and to give it the proper respect it deserves, we go with a lucky Premier Ball in hopes that we can build ourselves a Dragonite. And the luck of the Pokemon gods continues as we add our little Dratini to the team. We name him Frank, and now we have a little baby Frank. Frank is small, and a baby, and it has cute charm, which makes sense because it's adorable, and could be useful in the future. But more importantly, he's really fast, and we like speed in our Nuzlockes. Additionally, he seems somewhat tanky. Now, those attack and special attack aren't great, but if I can find some decent special attack moves, he can work as an awesome speedy tank, so we just gotta help him grow up a little bit, and eventually we're gonna have a really good Pokemon. Now we take on Berg in a 3v3 level cap 23. We're forced to bring Frank with us because we're lacking in non-legendaries, but hopefully we just get a Diniton sweep and everything goes smoothly. So we go up against a Spinda, and I'm thinking we're just gonna drop this guy in one hit. Unfortunately, it's a bit beefier than I thought. But we built up that speed boost, and now we get to go first, and we drop it easily on the second hit. Berg tries to ramp up the pressure by throwing out a legendary to go up against me. But he picked the wrong one, because my Diniton has the fire of the gods on his side. For the finale, Berg throws out a Garbodor. We have our speed boosted. Can we get the Diniton sweep? And all it takes is one hit. We drop the giant piece of garbage, and this becomes one of the easiest gyms I've had to face. 3 gyms down, 5 to go. We enter a desert, and just as we do, things start to get wild. Oh, this is an encounter for this freaking desert land. Oh! Bro, give me some normal Pokemon, goddamn! But we don't do things normal in this game, do we? We start off by nearly getting Frank killed, which would have been devastating. On top of that, we're in the middle of a sandstorm, so we have limited amount of time to catch this Latios. So we give it the best effort that we could possibly give it. But in the end, it is not enough, as the raging sandstorm takes away a legendary. We have to move further into the desert to get another chance at an encounter, and we finally have our opportunity at the desert resort, where we run into a Rotom, which is actually a pretty cool find. But we run into a couple problems. Number one, the sandstorm is still raging, so we can't do much damage. So we're on a limited time basis here. And number two, Rotom actually hits really hard. After a few failed Pokeballs, even Spice Girl is already having to pull out. And unfortunately, I have to decide between putting in either Ludini or Manadini, who are weak to electric, or Diniton, who has very weak defenses. Since Ludini is the beefiest of them all, I opt to risk it. Let's see how that goes. Shadow Claw's really powerful! Oh my god, I have to pull out immediately and we got critted! Suffice to say, things are not going well. It is time that we risk Diniton's defenses. This is a terrible idea. I'm sacrificing my strongest attacker. I just want to see what it can do. And thus ends the life of our starter Pokemon. Diniton, may you rest in peace. But the battle is not over. We must continue. We must make Diniton's sacrifice worthwhile. This might be our last shot. Let's hope we didn't waste everything. We risked it for the biscuit. And now we are sad. Last shot, probably. Manadini might die here, too. 1, 2. Yes, we got it! We got a trade-off! It was such a sad trade-off. On the final Pokeball, we lose our starter! Was it worth it? Was it worth it? I don't know, but he had adaptability, which is why he hit so hard, and he's a great attacker and special attacker. His defenses aren't that bad. His only biggest issue is that his speed is pretty terrible. So we replaced one semi-glass cannon for another semi-glass cannon. We trek even further into the desert. desert to reach some ruins where we have another shot at an encounter. And this time around, we find a fairy type that's not a fairy type in this game. A good old Clefable. We whittle the Clefable down like usual, and after a bit of difficulty, say 20-25 Pokeballs or so, eventually we were able to entice our little Clefable friend to join the team. So yeah, unfortunately Clefable is normal type, and also it has Hustle, which is not something I'm a big fan of in Nuzlocke, because lowering accuracy is just not reliable. She does have pretty good attack, and stats are fairly even overall, so she doesn't seem too bad, all things considered, but rarely do I keep a normal type in my starting lineup. All of our adventuring was finally rewarded in this desert, as this random backpack lady decided she wanted to give me a free Pokemon in the form of a fossil. So we have to run back to defossilize our fossil, however that works, and we get handed a Meta-type, which is an interesting Pokemon. Stats-wise, it's a great special attacker, once again another one with no speed. Drawing in electric-type moves with Lightning Rod is intriguing. Defenses aren't great, we kind of need to hope for it to evolve overall before this is going to be relatively useful. And yeah, that speed hurts. But it is given Psyshock and Secret Sword right off the bat, so its special attack is immediately useful, which is a huge boon. It's time to take on Elisa, whatever. It's a 3v3, level cap 27. We're opening with our tank, Podini, and she opens with a Chameleon, which in theory seems like a dumb idea. However, every time I open with Podini, the same stupid thing happens. It's just incredibly hard to finish off, as it has minimized, so I can't hit it, and then she heals it a couple times, and it's just like, I gotta bring in a heavy hitter. So we bring in Ruiner, who ruined Diniton's life, and then we speed up the game to full blast, and we just attempt to hit this Chameleon, which has evasiveness through the roof. Luckily, it's not trying to do any damage to me, but it has Slack Off, and she has Hyper Potions, so we just need to get lucky. And eventually, a Thunderbolt hits, and we're able to finish it off. Finally. And Elisa sends out Frank's sister, Crank, and we finish her off fairly easily. And she moves to her ace, an Anteater, made of fire, as Shy Girl sees some of her first action ever. But we have two things going in our favor. Number one, Clefable has Dig, and she's fairly good at it. Number two, this Heatmore has terrible special attack, and yet it insists upon using it. So Shy Girl is able to finish off the job, and another gym is done and dusted. 4 gyms down, only 4 more to go. So you know how I said that we've just destroyed Sharon every time that I've faced him so far? Well, he got better. Here I was riding off of the high of my last 2 gyms, just dominating them, thinking that I am the king of this Pokemon game. Well, when you become overconfident, that's where things go wrong. Is white hard though? No, not so far. Not really. I was too busy talking to chat when I didn't notice that Vespiquen used Memento to lower both of my attacks. And the hard-hitting Lapras that I was beating up earlier in the fight came back in. And me, being the overconfident, cocky person that I was at this time, I thought, 1 more hit. That's all I need to finish off this Lapras. It'll be easy. Type advantages be damned. Oh, this is a bad call. This is a bad call. This is a bad call. I was talking too much. This is what happens when I get lulled into a false sense of security. And so ends the life of our tank. Our MVP of the run so far. Lost due to my carelessness. But the pain didn't end there, as my carelessness led me to believe that Razor Wind was a one-turn move, and then we ran into more trouble. Wait, why is that a 2-turn move? What am I doing, guys? What is happening right now? That's 2 deaths in a row. This Lapras is just hanging on by a thread somehow. Ludini is able to finish off the job, but the losses were heavy, and we move forward with a heavy heart. It is a sad day indeed, as we have to lay to rest. Good old Podini. You were the MVP so far, Podini. Thanks for your services. We press forward after the loss of Podini, trying to get a new Pokemon to add to the team. And our option for this route is a Panpour, unfortunately. On the bright side, it was rather easy to catch. And to add insult to injury, it's got one of the worst defenses I've ever seen, so it's not really usable, unfortunately. It has Unburden, which is whatever. The rest of the stats are fairly even, but like, what are you gonna do with a defense like that?